Well, welcome, brothers. It's a pleasure to have you both here. I know we were trying to have this conversation a little bit earlier this year, but you are here now, and we're excited because for me, anytime I find Black people doing amazing, wonderful things for themselves, I'm like, oh, well, that's lovely. That's nice for you. But then when I find out that those Black people who are doing amazing and wonderful things for themselves are now also trying to think about how to use their gift, skills, and talents on behalf of the people, that's what gets me really happy and excited. So let's talk about Haltere Group. You all seem to have a distinctive approach to empowering Black communities when it comes to housing, and housing is a big issue right now. Talk to us about your approach to this issue and why you think it's so important for this time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
go ahead, Michael, you have it.
Yes, so I'll jump in and first and foremost, I just want to say thank you again for having us on the platform. As you mentioned, we were supposed to do this a few weeks back, but I'm proud to say that the reason we were unable to coordinate is because we were closing on our largest acquisition to date, which is 132 units in the very historic New Orleans East community. So we're close by the historic Lincoln Beach. If we want to delve into the history of Lincoln Beach and New Orleans, we can do that. There's a lot of activity going on in that area with Anthony Mackie and Hollywood South looking to come in
Oh,
and
wow.
really just redevelop and take back the roots of New Orleans East, and Haltere Group was able to put our stamp on that. So sorry for missing you a few weeks ago, but we're
No,
so
no.
happy to be
Good
here
reason.
today.
Good reason. I'm not mad at it at all. Now, Dennis, talk to us about this latest project. I heard 130 plus units. Are these rental units? Are these units that you will then be reselling? Talk to us about what this property looks like and how it will serve the people.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is 132 units in New Orleans. These are market rent apartment buildings where we're able to lease out to the community, right? We're able to provide affordable housing, upgraded housing to the community to provide our people, those who look like us, a safe and nice place to live. The problem across the country is there's not many that look like us who are, really diving into the commercial real estate space. And that's either for fear of not knowing or for a lack of finances. So we at the Haltere Group are really driven to educating those in our community on one, how to properly invest their dollars and how those dollars could lead to generational wealth. There's not many of us who are playing in this space. Many are playing in the condominium, single family space. We are really here to educate and allow those to get into the big boy, big girl commercial real estate space to really make some serious money.
Now, you mentioned that this is going to be affordable for folks, but I also heard the word market rates. Is this something, are you splitting the baby between top of the market and affordability rates? How do you price the units so that you don't fall into the same trap that a lot of developers fall into, which is the goal is to provide affordable housing, but then affordable becomes defined by the wealthiest folks in the community. How do you strike a balance between those two concerns?
Affordable is defined by the area in which the community can afford, right? So during our due diligence, we really do a deep dive into identifying what's the market rate and then what's the affordability rate. So we don't take our buildings to the maximum dollar amount. We take them to a level that's comfortable for those in the community. So for this particular property, our average two bedrooms are leasing for $700 to $800, where the market
Oh,
is
I'm sorry,
demanding
what?
1,000 to
What?
$1,100.
Hold on, brother, hold on. Now I'm a Brooklyn sister, okay? We branched out into Jersey, but we still have very you how much was that for a two bedroom apartment?
$700 to $800 for a two bedroom, but the market is
Hell,
is demanding $1,100. So we are south of what the market is
wow.
projecting.
Now, how are you able to do that and still maintain a profit? I'm told that developers are only concerned about the profits. How are you able to afford to provide for affordable rents for people coming from traditionally marginalized communities and still maintain a profit? Is that even possible in America anymore?
Absolutely. Michael and I and our team over at the Haltere Group, we do our homework. We do a deep dive. COVID, obviously, there's a lot of owners who are able to obtain those 2%, 3% interest rates. And when the market shifted and those rates increased up to 6 and 7%, sellers were in a very weird position. So we have attacked and found a niche within the market to where we can attack those sellers and identify and acquire buildings at a discounted rate that discounted rate has allowed for us to keep the rates for rents where they are, all while driving the equity to a position where our investors can reap the benefits.
Wow. So it feels like this is the best of both worlds. My question is why? Why do this sort of community facing work when you could be doing what a lot of folks do, which is fleecing the community, coming on in, kicking those old tenants out, jacking up the rents to where they are market rate? Why are you not doing that?
There's enough money for everyone to make. Over my 20
I'm sorry.
plus years,
What? I'm sorry. No, no, no. Say that one more time. What was
there's
that? I
enough
couldn't hear
money
you in my
for
ear.
everyone to make. And, to be frank, over 20 plus years in commercial real estate, I have personally brokered over 300 transactions north of $3 billion in real estate. I've only had three Black clients, three. That was a problem for me, for my partners. And when COVID happened, we had that aha moment. And that aha moment was, what can we do as a collective to really enhance and grow the knowledge for the next generation of Black and Brown? And that's why we formed the Haltere Group. And we're proud. We're happy, we're elated, we're doing great work. We have over 139 investors, 137 look like us. And we're just doing good work. We dot the I's and cross the T's, and we're not one of those firms that has negative press. We have great press.
You raised it. I was gonna try to find a navigable way to get into that space because there have been a couple of other groups led by Black people in the real estate space that have had terrible press, and if the press is to be believed, are facing some serious investigations, and some folks are claiming that a whole lot of money was taken. You all don't have that sort of baggage, I know, because I looked. So what is it that helps you to maintain your distinction from people who seem to get into this space with the best of intentions, but then who end up fleecing us in a way that is almost worse than other folks coming into our community and fleecing us? Because there's no hurt like the hurt of your own, right? There's no wound like that which is inflicted by your own. How are you able to maintain your commitment to this? What is it about the way you're structured? I mean, do you have this in your bylaws? Like, how are you structurally and in your internal infrastructure and in the ecosystem surrounding the Haltere Group? What do you need to put into place to maintain your commitment to this sort of approach to housing and equity for our folks?
A wise person once told me that the devil is in the details, right? And so with the Haltere Group, we are ever focused on the transparency and education behind what we do in the real estate space. When we look at our contemporaries and peers in the market and you see the bad press coming from various real estate investment firms and syndicators, a lot of that is because of the opaque nature of their operations. When you hear about all of the negative scuttlebutt, you see that a lot of the investors, people that put their hard-earned money into these investment firms, they don't know where their money went. They don't know, how their money was being used. They don't know what was being purchased. They don't know what their returns look like. And that is the complete antithesis to how my partners and I operate the Haltere Group. We pride ourselves on transparency, and more than anything else, what underscores our business practices is education. When you look at the landscape of the real estate environment in the United States of America, it's no secret that real estate ownership and investment is the number one conduit to wealth creation in this country. However, when you look at the African American population of real estate investors, we are lagging behind every other race and ethnic group in the real estate investment space. And the reason that is, Lurie, is because of a lack of education. So before my partners and I go out into the world and we acquire new properties and we look to add value to these communities and we look to make generational change, we make sure that we are educating investors on how we are going to help them build wealth in real estate and how we're going to impact the communities that we invest in.
866-801-8255. That was a declaration, I think, of integrity, which is the kind of thing that we need a lot more of in the business spaces that are targeting our community. And I see a number of you are on the line, but a lot of y'all have comments that indicate you want to talk about what we were talking about before the commercial break. We are not bringing Trump immunity and SCOTUS opinions into this conversation. So, Amina, if you could please let these callers know we love you. Stephen, Dave, Dale, Kenneth, Timothy, Jackie, love you, love you, love you. But we are in another conversation right now. So we're going to clear the boards. If you have questions related to real estate investing, questions related to how you can learn from these brothers, maybe mimic what they're doing in some way, please give us a call, 866-801-8255, 866-801-TALK. We are moving on from the Supreme Court. But don't worry, tomorrow is the 15th day after Juneteenth. We'll be back on Supreme Court by Friday. Don't you worry. We're going to come back. We're going to come back. But for now, I want to delve into this venture, which I think is absolutely phenomenal, because what you are talking about is not just providing single family homes, small renters. You're talking multi-unit properties. What are some of the things that, for folks who are interested in this sort of real estate I don't know what to call it, real estate opportunity, real estate pathway, however it is we should be framing it, for folks who want to mimic what you're doing, what are some of the things that they need to know? Who are some of the people you need on your team in terms of positions? How do you structure and the infrastructure necessary for this sort of massive acquisition of homes and housing in a way that's going to continue to be beneficial to the people who need it the most?
Absolutely. So I love the word structure that you use, because really Haltere Group structure has been tantamount to our success. So there's a word that I want all of your listeners to understand about what the Haltere Group does. And then for those that endeavor to mimic or replicate what we're doing, that word is syndication. For those out there that are listening that don't understand what syndication means, it's a very simple concept. It's basically working together. That's what syndication means. It's group economics. We've seen other groups doing this for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years in all facets of industry. And my partners and I decided to leverage this syndication model to help ourselves, our families, and our community build generational wealth. The way we do that, Lurie, is by pooling our resources.
I gotta pause you because my mama just sent me a text message. It's Lurie, like Marie with the L. So if I don't correct it, and she's at the house this week. So if I don't say something, she gonna be on me all week, and she's a Jamaican mama. So what I can't do,
I know that's right. Lurie. I
Yes.
know that's right. My apologies. So we leverage syndication.
Listen, and you don't need to apologize, because I'm still on Mikael versus Michael. So we good, brother. You good on this block.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But fundamentally, what we do and what we encourage the audience out there in the community to do as well is work together. None of us are as smart as all of us, and none of us are as wealthy, right, or have as many resources as all of us together. So my partners, what we do is we consolidate our expertise. All of us come from decades of experience working in real estate, working in banking, working in development, working for some of the most prestigious Fortune 500 companies in the country. And when COVID hit, as my partner Dennis mentioned, the Haltere Group was created to consolidate that expertise so that we could work together in order to get further ahead than we otherwise could do individually.
So what does that syndication require? Because I hear syndication and now I'm thinking Ujamaa, cooperative economics. So if I want to have a cooperative economic vehicle in the housing provision space, do I need a lawyer on my team? Do I need an MBA on my team? Do I need an accountant on my team? What are the structural positions that are necessary? And the reason I'm sticking with structure is because a lot of us have vibes, a lot of us have good feelings and intentions, but we don't necessarily have the infrastructure to sustain those things. Give us some of the concrete positions and forms of knowledge that are necessary for people who would want to come together to do something similar to what Haltere Group is doing.
Well, first, I believe, having a plan is paramount, right? For a position standpoint, your CPA, your accountant, having an understanding of your tax situation. Are you tax positive? Are you tax negative? Do you need savings here and there? It's always great to have a lawyer to review your contracts, because having a lawyer will keep you out of the problems in which other groups have found themselves into, right? You want that lawyer to...
And the lawyer can't be personally vested, because then the lawyer is incentivized to be less than honest.
Absolutely. You want a third-party lawyer. You want a third-party accountant. And then you want to be able to kick the can. You want to look under the hood. You want to ask questions. And if you don't understand the questions, seek out a real estate broker who is knowledgeable in the commercial space. There's a difference between a residential broker and a commercial broker. So seek out those who have an expertise within the commercial real estate space and ask questions. But I would say CPA, lawyer, and a very knowledgeable broker.
Okay.
And if I could just add to that, I think it's
Please.
imperative that you have experts, right? One thing with the Haltere group, and when we're speaking to folks, we always evangelize the merit of working with experts that know what they're doing. A lot of times, we have these folks that go to YouTube University and think that they can, go out and do things. And hey, we applaud the initiative, but when you are talking about bringing in other people's hard-earned money, when you're talking about making the sort of impact we're making in these communities, and you're talking about acquiring and operating these high value assets, it's important that you don't just go out and get, Sally Mae's cousin and, so-and-so's brother-in-law. You want to make sure that you're working with experts that know what they're doing.
Yeah. Let's talk about the impact. Is this how many, outside of this most recent acquisition in New Orleans, how many projects do you currently have with the Haltere Group? And I also want to talk about this podcast as well, because again, y'all, they do seem to believe what they say when it comes to syndication and Ujamaa. They have a How with Haltere. It's a podcast that talks about their mission, their vision, the power of real estate to transform community. Let's talk about what that impact looks like and what folks would be able to learn by listening to the podcast.
Absolutely. We are excited. Currently, we have 420 apartment units under management, and we are soon to open escrow on 163 units in Mississippi. So by the end of September, we'll be up to 580 plus units. But we have a phenomenal division called the Historical Black College Division, where we are developing brand new ground up student housing units for Tuskegee University. And I will have my partner, Michael Piles, to really dive into that, because he, as an HBCU alum, has a love for this and a passion for this. And it's only right for you to break it down, partner.
Oh, absolutely. I have an extreme fervor for giving back to the HBCU community. I'm a graduate, as you mentioned, of Clark Atlanta University. I was inaugurated into Clark Atlanta's 40 under 40 achievement awardee class a couple years ago. And so the HBCU community has done so much for me and my family, but also so much for the world. Still in 2024, HBCUs en masse are paragons of excellence and achievement for African Americans everywhere. We currently have 107 active historically Black colleges and universities around the United States. But the unfortunate truth is that from a housing standpoint, our HBCUs are in dire straits. There's an extreme epidemic happening amongst our HBCUs in the student housing realm, because all of our universities are constantly and historically being overlooked by institutional funding. The housing conditions are under-maintained. We're seeing pest-ridden, roach-infested, not enough housing, and it's truly ridiculous considering the fact that these institutions still in 2024 produce the best of the best across all industries. And so we need to protect them. So what the Haltere Group has done is we've taken up the mantle to help go in and restore and develop the student and faculty housing conditions of our HBCUs. Our first foray into this space is Tuskegee University. We have acquired 4 acres of land adjacent to the university. We're developing 225 top of the line student housing units for this next generation. And we're going to extrapolate this concept to HBCUs across the nation.
Amina, a round of applause, air horns, boom, pew, 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 pew. Yes, all of that. Yes, pew, pew, pew. Okay, so this is what my little heart is joyous, because this is what I want us to do. And if we do it, we can win. Y'all, when we talk about development and building and doing things for ourselves, he said 130 out of 132 of y'all is 132 of y'all. How many partners y'all got? Is like all but 2 of y'all is the coaches.
We have 139 investors and 137 look like us.
Yes.
Come on. Now, don't say that too loud before the Ed Blums of the world try to come for you, but we're gonna block that. We're going to block that.
They're not like us. They're not like us.
Listen, come on. Let's do it. Let's go. We got a couple of callers on the line. Let's go to Cheryl in Tennessee, who's a first-time caller. Welcome to the Call-In Family. Cheryl, what are your questions for the Haltere Group?
Hi, how are you all?
We're well.
Hi.
I'm just so fascinated and awed by what you all are doing. Now, are you all going to different states doing this? I know you will be at TSU eventually, but for Tennessee State University, I mean, not the one in Texas. But are you all coming to other areas, other states with your model of housing and stuff, affordable, really affordable housing?
Oh,
Yes, currently we are in Missouri, we are in Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas. And for our Black College division, we obviously are at Tuskegee, and we are negotiating a large plot of land adjacent to Prairie View A&M.
Wait a minute, y'all in the Confederacy. Y'all said we staying in the South. Hold on now, let's talk about this because this that adds another layer. It adds another layer. Some folks who have been encouraging Black folk to move down into the southern regions from the North and bring our political engagement with us. What is the geographic commitment to the South? Where does that come from? Now I ain't mad at it. I love it. I just want to know why.
It's opportunity. It's supply and demand. That's real estate. Supply and demand. There is a huge demand in the southern states. And there's a huge opportunity in those states as well. So we attack opportunities. Opportunities is where the dollars live. And speaking to generational wealth, if we're going to speak to it, then we have to be about it. And that's where we can make the largest impact for our investors.
Wow. Let's get it. We have one more caller on the line that I want to get to. They've been waiting. Let's go to Cheryl. Thank you so much for calling. Let's go to Kevin in Georgia. Thank you for calling, Kevin. You're on the Lurie Daniel Favors Show with the Haltere Group. What is your thought or question today?
How y'all doing? My thought and question is, all right, y'all building homes, that's great, but all the jobs in New Orleans, like it used to be when I was a kid growing up, there's no more jobs there for anybody to afford the prices y'all are paying, and it's affordable. But it's the community. If you're looking around the community, there's no jobs there like it was when I was growing up. It's like there's a lot of winos hanging on the corner now. I get depressed every time I go home. People's not cleaning up their community. They still got tarps on their roofs. Their houses just rotting and falling down and stuff like that, all in the community. If you're not from New Orleans, like I'm from New Orleans, like Kennewick Mall, it's gone. You know what I mean? A lot of jobs around there. And the parents is gone, too. So they don't want to bring any jobs back there no more. I see more prostitution on Shelf Highway than a little bit. Young Black girls prostituting.
Now, I got to be honest with you. What Kevin, thank you so much for that. Just for time's sake, because we're coming up at the end of the segment. What he's talking about, I'm seeing reflected in Brooklyn. I'm seeing it on the trains in the Northeast. The levels of poverty and the devastation that folks are experiencing are significant. What do you say to his comment that, even with the affordable rates that you're providing, there's still not enough jobs in the community? And I know you're not necessarily in the job creation business, but how do you factor in those elements when you're looking at providing very affordable housing, even in places where the job market and opportunities seem to be artificially depressed?
So I just want to correct you on something respectfully. We are in the job creation business. Really, when you talk about developing, when we talk about what we're doing in these HBCU communities, another reason why we're in the South, right, where a lot of these HBCUs are concentrated, we are creating job opportunities. When we develop, we need property managers, we need maintenance crews, we need plumbers, we need electricians. So we are creating jobs for folks that look like us. And to your caller, I believe his name is Kevin, who made a wonderful point. We're looking to be change agents. We see that in our communities every single day. We're seeing the degradation of our communities, our young people coming up and not having enough examples of the right paths to take in life or how to, take their generation to the next level. So my partners and I are doing our part to change this by reclaiming ownership of our properties. A lot of the assets that we're acquiring have been operated for years by slumlords, by folks that are mismanaging these areas. And these are places where our people are living. So we're not just coming in to purchase real estate and make a profit. We're coming in to make a huge impact, create jobs, and be a representation of what that next generation of owners, investors, and trailblazers can be.
He said, what you ain't going to do is minimize our impact, ma'am. We are helping not just the housing, we are also helping the job. I love this distinction. This is fantastic because, as you said, you're not going into a place to buy up land to recruit new people. You're going where people are already living and replacing the awful conditions that they're living under with ownership that respects the humanity of the occupants in that space. I love it. And ain't nothing like a good pushback that's going to push us into the right direction. So, y'all, you can do housing. You can profit. You can do job creation. We can do all of these things. And y'all know my favorite hashtag is hashtag we solve our problems best. And it sounds like this is something that you all are definitely committed to. But let's talk about the profit for a minute. You got 137 partners. No, 139, 37 that look like you. Are you making money off of this? Because I've been told that the poor people, it's hard to make money off the poor people unless you selling illicit drugs and things of that nature. How are you actually able to make a profit on all this? Because y'all see, I'm looking at you. The audience will see this video on YouTube in a couple of days or so, but y'all don't look like you're in tatters. How are you actually able to make a profit doing this? Is this a business model that is going to produce intergenerational wealth for you, for example?
Absolutely. We are making a profit, and we are excited to announce that we have paid out over $1 million to our investors since the creation of the Haltere Group. So not only are the founding principals benefiting from the endeavor, but we also are paying out, unlike other organizations that look like us, to our investors. $1 million. We're valued at $30 to $40 million company. We have raised over $10 million of capital to deploy into our assets. So we are excited, and we want to continue the trend. We want to keep growing the company and keep raising the value of generational wealth to our investors.
Now, are you still taking investors? Because I'm seeing one question related to, can I still invest? That's one of the questions that I'm seeing. Is the investment pool still open for additional investors?
Absolutely. And we're not stopping anytime soon. We like to call this a fast moving freight train. We're looking to acquire properties and really spread our mission of wealth across the nation. If you'd like to get involved in one of our funds and hear more about how you can invest with the Haltere Group, you can find us at www.halteregroup.com. There's multiple ways to contact us directly by going to our website there. Additionally, we're all over social media. All you have to do is type in Haltere Group on any social media platform, and you'll see us pop up.
What does Haltere mean?
Rising from the ashes.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I should have asked that at the beginning. So many more things would have made sense. I love this. I am hoping y'all are extraordinarily successful and that I appreciate that you have not just come on to talk about the Haltere Group and the work that you're doing and the projects and how it's happening, but I appreciate that you are standing as a model for what it looks like to assemble with integrity, because a lot of us assemble like Voltron, but we don't have Voltron with integrity. So it looks as though you are approaching this with integrity. You found a need within our community. You have the ability to use your gift, skills, and talents to make us better off and make the people who are supporting your work better off. It feels like a win-win-win, and I think our folk need way more examples of this sort of success so that we can be confident that not only can we support existing groups, but that we can launch out into those ideas that we may have. We've been sitting on, many of us, and we can do good in this world as well. Y'all visit their website, halteregroup.com. I hope we can get y'all to come back. I want to talk a little bit more about the wealth management and the wisdom that you all share. I want people to visit the podcast as well, and just give us the name of the podcast one more time so folks can know to look that up also.
Yes, the podcast is called the How with Haltere podcast. HOW is an acronym, HOW, which stands for Helping Others Win. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast. Please go like, follow, and subscribe today.